Hi, I'm Chef Jim from TPC River Highlands, and I'd like to welcome you to our culinary series, Cooking from the Cabinet. We're going to be making chicken piccata. Let's get started. Okay, so the first step we want to do with making our chicken piccata is make our batter first. That's something that needs to rest for an hour before we actually use it, and so we can do this ahead of time. We're going to start by taking half a cup of flour, put it into a bowl, and then we're going to take 16 ounces, 2 cups of eggs that we've whisked to break up. You're going to whisk the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. That will help prevent some lumps. So as we whisk this up, getting rid of all the lumps, whisk vigorously a little bit there. All right, that is almost there. All right, so that's whisked pretty good. Then we're gonna add our half cup of shredded Parmesan cheese. Gently whisk that in. That's incorporated. Then we're gonna add our half a cup of salad oil, canola oil, or any salad oil you have in the house. We want a neutral flavored oil for this. Whisk that in, and then we're gonna finish with just a little salt and pepper. Now what I did here is I mixed the salt and pepper ahead of time. It's a little easier. Whisk in. Now we're gonna wait 1 hour to let this rest and let the flour soak up all the ingredients, and then we'll be able to use it. All right, so our next step in the process of making our chicken piccata is to prepare the chicken breasts. So we're gonna take the chicken breast, and we're gonna put them skin side down. And I've done some saran wrap that I double layered. We're gonna put that over the chicken breast. And using the small head on the mallet, we're gonna gently pound it. If you do nice big heavy hits, you're gonna end up breaking the chicken piccata. You'll have holes in it. And notice I'm not pounding the tail end, the thinner part of the breast, because that's already thin enough. I'm gonna go ahead and turn those over and then pound lightly again. Okay, so our next step is then to season the chicken breast. Sprinkle. Turn the chicken breast over. I want to sprinkle again. And don't get too close. You want to do higher up so it's an even distribution of the salt and pepper. Then we're going to take our flour. It's just all-purpose flour. We're going to dredge the chicken breast in here. So we want to completely coat the chicken breast in the flour. This step helps the batter adhere to the chicken. So we're going to take our batter that we pre-made ahead of time, and we're going to start to saute it. So we have this saute pan on medium-high heat. Shake off the excess flour on both breasts. Flip them over, submerge them completely in your piccata batter. Pull up, let drain for just a little bit. Make sure your oil it's a generous amount of oil. Put the skin side down first. Second breast in. And you'll notice where my thumb was holding the breast, I wiped some of that batter off. I'm just gonna pat a little batter on top of that. All right, so when we're sauteing this, we want to keep it at medium heat, a little lower than you typically would when you're sauteing something, because we have a batter around. It's not just the raw chicken on the pan. And we're going to saute that until they're golden brown. All right, so we're looking to do a golden brown on these chicken breasts, so I'm flipping it over. That looks perfect. I might have done this once or twice before. Flip over. Now we're going to saute the other side until it's nice and golden brown like these. And then we're not going to finish these in the pan. It would take too long or the batter would start to burn on the outside. So we're going to transfer them over to a small sheet tray to finish cooking in the oven. While our chicken breasts are in the oven, we're going to start making our sauce. We're going to start by grabbing a shallot, cutting off the root end, cut it in half, and then I'm just going to thinly slice it. We want to end up with a mince on this. Now I'm just going to pull all those together and then cut across them. Turn the whole pile, and one more time. This is more of a rustic dish. We're not looking for perfection. All right, and then we've got this saute pan here that we sauteed the chicken breast in. We're gonna get rid of a little bit of the crispies, but we wanna save that oil because that oil's got flavor. All right, so shallots go in. We're gonna turn that on low heat. As that's cooking, we are gonna grab a couple garlic cloves. And when I say a couple, I mean like 5, because everyone loves garlic, right? We'll cut the ends off. And then slice them thinly, making sure not to cut your fingers. When we get this whole pile of thinly sliced garlic, then we're just gonna rough chop them into approximately a mince size, and then add them to our shallots. All right, so we've got our pile of garlic here. Kind of holding it together with my left hand. Then go back through, chop, bring all the garlic back into the same pile, wipe your knife off, chop, then back through, wipe your knife off again, bring it back. We'll repeat this maybe 2 more times till we get the size garlic we want. Personally, I like the garlic to be large chunks. I typically would stop now if I'm doing this for myself. I like to get that nice little niblet of garlic in when I'm doing something. All right, so that's it on the garlic. We're gonna swirl our shallots now, flip them over. You can see it's starting to foam, starting to get those juices and all the flavors out of the shallot. And they're cooked about halfway, so I'm gonna add our garlic now. Generous on the garlic. Okay, we're gonna toss that pan again. And then our next step is to add our white wine. Add our white wine. We're gonna bring that to, turn the burner up on high. We're gonna bring that to a boil, reduce that down to about 2 tablespoons worth, so almost dry. All right, so we're at a good boil. That's reducing quickly. This will take maybe 2 minutes to get it to the point where we want it. Once again, we're looking to reduce this down to about 2 tablespoons, 1 ounce. Make sure you're swirling the pan every now and then. Sometimes pieces of shallots and garlic on the side that are at the edge of the pan will start to crisp up a little bit. It's okay to get a little golden brown. That just adds some more flavor. We don't want to burn them though. So that's why I'm swirling the pan every now and then. All right, so we're almost there. Maybe another 3 or 4 seconds. I'm gonna add my heavy cream to this. Okay, heavy cream we're gonna add in. Swirl that around. So now we're gonna bring this to a boil just like we did the white wine, and we're gonna reduce it by about half. All right, so our heavy cream has come to a boil. We're gonna add our lemon. We've got a microplaner here. I'm just gonna shave off some of the lemon zest. So the zest has a lot of oil in it, and that oil carries a lot of flavor. So we wanna get that in the sauce. After we zest this, we're gonna add some of the juice. The zest is a more pure lemon oil flavor. The juice obviously is gonna have a little acidity to it, which we want to cut the richness from the fat, the richness of the heavy cream. So we're just gonna squeeze that through a little strainer here. We're gonna do the whole lemon. The whole lemon. Okay, great. I'm gonna swirl that around. Make sure the lemon zest gets distributed throughout the whole pan, along with the lemon juice. All right, so we still need to reduce for a little bit. All right, our next step is to add our capers. So I'm gonna sprinkle our capers in here. So we also want to get a little bit of that caper juice, which once again is going to help cut the fattiness, the richness of the heavy cream. And it gives it that briny, salty flavor too. You're going to want to be real careful with seasoning this at the end. You don't want to add too much salt because of the saltiness that's in the brine that's surrounding the capers. All right, so we're going to let that reduce for another 30 seconds, maybe a minute at the most. Then we're going to swirl in a little butter. So our heavy cream has come to a rolling boil. It's almost reduced to where we want it for thickness, consistency. We're going to add a couple knobs of butter in here and swirl that around. When I add the butter, I'm going to turn that heat down to low. And I'm just going to swirl that butter in so it melts and gets incorporated into the sauce. You can add as little or as much butter as you want. You can see the butter starting to melt and get smaller and smaller. All right, the butter is completely melted. Now we're going to sprinkle just a little salt and pepper here. Once again, be careful on the salt. Then we're going to try that. Consistency looks about right. Oh, that's good. All right, we're going to turn that down. The sauce is ready. So our chicken breasts have finished cooking. I've pulled them out of the oven. We've got our delicious sauce ready. We just need to finish plating up. We're going to start by chopping some parsley. We're just going to do a rough chop on this. And just like that. And then for the plating up, we're just going to shingle our chicken breasts on a plate here. Then we're going to grab our sauce. Stir it up, dig down in the bottom where all those shallots and garlic and capers are. And I'm a sauce guy, so I'm going to go a little heavy on this. Finish with a little parsley, sprinkle on top. And that's our dish, chicken piccata. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Cooking from the Cabinet. Stay tuned, and we'll see you right back here in the kitchen. I like that. Yeah. We've done this before.